In the wake of a deeply disturbing intrusion attempt at Jungkook's residence, a quiet but emotional meeting reportedly took place behind the scenes, one that has gripped armies with tenderness, worry, and awe. According to sources close to BTS's inner circle, Jungkook's mother and Jin, the eldest BTS member, shared an intimate conversation following the incident, during which she expressed a heartfelt request. "He needs you now more than ever. Please stay close to him." The event occurred shortly after local authorities confirmed the arrest of a woman in her 40s who had unlawfully entered the parking area of Jungkook's private residence in Yongsan-gu, Seoul. The incident, which rattled fans across the world, highlighted growing concerns around Jungkook's security and well-being, especially given his high-profile status and recent return from military service. As the youngest member of BTS, Jungkook has long shared a special bond with Jin, one that fans often describe as protective, comforting, and older brother-like in nature. Now, it seems that bond is being called upon in the most personal and vulnerable way. Sources allege that after learning of the incident, Jin rushed to visit Jungkook, not only as a friend, but as someone who has always felt personally responsible for his youngest Dongsing. What began as a silent show of support reportedly turned into something far deeper. Jin's visit overlapped with a private moment where Jungkook's mother, overwhelmed with worry, confided in him. "I know how much you mean to him," she is said to have whispered. "He won't say it out loud, but I see it in his eyes when you're near. He feels safe." Jin, who has only recently returned to full public life after completing his military enlistment, has been juggling intense schedules, from fashion collaborations to global appearances. But even with those growing responsibilities, insiders suggest he was visibly shaken by what happened to Jungkook. During the alleged meeting, Jin reportedly listened quietly as Jungkook's mother expressed her deep fears. "He's trying to act strong, Seokjin," she supposedly said. "But at night, I can feel the weight on his chest. His silence screams." The emotion of that exchange lingered in the air. Jin, known for his composed nature and gentle humor, was seen exiting Jungkook's residence with red eyes and a clenched jaw, his silence carrying more weight than any words could. One staff member who witnessed the moment said, "He didn't say much, but his face said everything. That wasn't just a visit. That was a promise." The next morning, fans noticed an unexpected change. Jin, whose apartment is located in a different district, was reportedly spotted returning to Jungkook's area with a small suitcase in tow. Speculation quickly arose that he may be temporarily staying nearby, whether in the same building or adjacent lodging, for moral support and perhaps even quiet protection. Neither HYB nor Jin's representatives have confirmed these details, but the possibility alone has sparked waves of emotional reactions across fan communities. Social media was flooded with messages of support. "He's not just a bandmate. He's family," one army posted on X, formerly Twitter. Another wrote, "Jin was the first to hold Jungkook when BTS debuted. He might just be the one to catch him again now." This recent development has not only reignited conversations around idol security, but also prompted a deeper reflection on the unseen bonds that exist between BTS members. While the group's global fame is often measured in stadiums, streaming records, and fashion deals, it's these quieter moments, the ones never meant for headlines, that show what truly holds them together. For Jungkook, whose life has increasingly come under public scrutiny, the presence of Jin may be the anchor he desperately needs in stormy waters. And for Jin, who has often carried the role of protector with grace and quiet strength, this may be one of the most important roles he's ever taken on, not as a celebrity, not even as a soldier, but as a brother. In the days that followed, the K-pop world remained abuzz, not just over the intrusion attempt itself, but over what it seemed to awaken in the hearts of both Jin and Jungkook. For fans who have followed the group for over a decade, this was not just news. It was a glimpse into the quiet grief, anxiety, and strength that often goes unnoticed beneath the glitz of their careers. Jin's decision to stay close may not have been announced with fanfare, but it echoed louder than any official statement could. Those who encountered the two idols during this period described a shift. Jungkook, usually bold and free-spirited, seemed softer in Jin's presence, quieter, more grounded. Jin, on the other hand, walked a little slower, often glancing behind him, as if to make sure Jungkook was still okay. It wasn't just protection. It was care, layered with unspoken understanding. One staff member on set during a behind-the-scenes shoot reportedly caught the two sharing a brief exchange. Jungkook, eyes lowered, had muttered something too quiet to hear. Jin reached out, rested a hand on his shoulder, and nodded without saying a word. These small, Wordless moments painted the deeper picture. Jin wasn't there to lecture or demand healing. He was there to exist alongside the pain, offering quiet strength, just enough to remind Jungkook that he was never truly alone. What makes this bond more touching is how it has evolved through time. Jungkook once referred to Jin as a hyung who always lets me be free, but catches me when I fall. Now, in a turn of poetic fate, the younger one seemed to have stumbled into one of the hardest emotional landslides of his public life, and Jin was once again extending a hand, not to force him to stand, but simply to stand beside him. As fans began to notice Jin's presence in more behind-the-scenes glimpses, be it a passing reflection in a live, a low voice off-camera, or sightings near the same scheduled locations, armies began forming a narrative of healing around the duo. Hashtag Jin Protects Jungkook trended globally, not as a campaign, but as a collective emotional response to something deeper than fandom. The emotional weight of Jungkook's mother asking Jin to stay close resonates far beyond BTS. It's a story of human vulnerability, of how even the brightest stars need safe havens, and how love, when wordlessly expressed, can be the loudest form of protection. Jin has long been a symbol of calm and reassurance within BTS, but now, he's become something even more essential, a guardian in shadows, choosing quiet presence over loud proclamations. The story continues to unfold. With security likely tightening and emotional walls being rebuilt brick by brick, Jungkook's future schedules may be more carefully curated. But one thing is clear, Jin's return to the spotlight is not just a professional resurgence, it's becoming a testament to the depth of human connection behind the music, and in an era where stardom often isolates, this brotherhood reminds the world of something pure, that healing begins not with applause, but with a silent presence beside you in the dark. Days after the unsettling breach at Jungkook's residence, the world has begun to notice a subtle change in Jin, not just as a performer, but as a man carrying something heavier than applause. Those close to BTS have whispered about Jin's growing protectiveness, a quality he's always had, but which now seems heightened. Whether it's staying late during rehearsals when Jungkook is around, silently sitting off camera during live streams, or waiting until every staff member has left before making his own exit, Jin has shifted into something beyond a bandmate. He's become a quiet anchor. According to sources who were present during recent schedules, Jin now often enters meetings where Jungkook is expected to be, even if he has no official role, sitting at the back, quiet, observing, but unmistakably present. One producer described it like having a bodyguard dressed in Gucci, but not for the fans, for his little brother. This observation is less about physical protection and more about emotional shielding, offering the kind of unseen comfort that only someone who truly understands the price of fame can provide. The silence between Jin and Jungkook during these moments speaks louder than scripted words. Fans have noted a change in Jungkook's demeanor, especially after the incident involving the woman who called herself a friend. While he remains the ever-charismatic golden magne, there's a visible caution in his posture now, as if he's constantly listening for something or someone just behind the noise. Jin seems to sense it too. A shadow walks beside him, alert but calm. Perhaps the most touching rumor comes from a cafe near the HYB building, where a barista claims to have overheard Jin telling a staff member, "He's not just my dongsing, he's my responsibility." Though unconfirmed, the quote has gone viral, not for its drama, but for the raw humanity it reflects. And in the midst of all this, Jungkook's mother has remained respectfully out of the public eye, but her message to Jin lingers in the minds of millions. Please don't leave him alone. What does that say about Jin? About the mother who knew exactly who to trust when her son's safety was compromised? About a bond between two men forged not just by years of practice rooms and stadiums, but by shared pain, quiet glances, and the weight of always being seen. This is not just a story of fandom. It's a story of brotherhood under fire. Of what happens when the lights go off and real life, raw, confusing, terrifying, crashes in. Jin didn't need to speak. He didn't need to post. His actions were a letter of love written in invisible ink, readable only to those who were truly looking.